Design of a mat footing. In this video, you will learn to define the properties, and draw the elements of the footing in the software. So this is the plan view of the mat footing, that you will be designing. It is of square shape, with sides equal to 5 meters. There are 3 different types of columns on the footing: C1, C2, and C3. The C1 columns in the corners have a dimension of 400 by 400 millimeters, and are subjected to a dead load of 2000 kilonewtons, and live load of 800 kilonewtons. The C2 columns, at the top and bottom, have a dimension of 450 by 350 millimeters. The C3 columns, at the left and right, have a dimension of 350 by 450 millimeters. Both C2 and C3 are subjected to dead loads of 1400 kilonewtons, and live loads of 600 kilonewtons. You will be using concrete grade of M30, and rebar grade of HYSD 415. Consider SBC of the soil as 200 kilonewtons per meter square, and the allowable settlement as 1 centimeter. The subgrade modulus will thus be 2 times 10 to the power of 4. And the design strip width will be 0.25 times 5, as both the L1 and L2 are 5 meters each. Thus the design strip width is 1.25 meters. Now open the SAFE software, to continue with the design. Here you will be shown another option, where you will be importing the properties, from a previously saved file. This will save you the time, in defining the properties again and again. In the File menu, choose New Model from Existing File. Choose the previously saved file, Isolated Footing, and click on Open. As it is an evaluation version of SAFE, any file that you save can be opened for 30 days since the date the file was created. Hence a notification appears, mentioning the number of days left. Click on OK. If the file has exceeded the 30-day limit, in your case, you will have to define the properties yourself again. The design code, the current units, and the design preferences, are already same as that you have set in Isolated Footing. You can check them, just to be sure. Under Initial Model Templates, choose the Grid-Only option. You can use grid lines at 1 meter intervals, as the length of the footing, and the positions of the columns, are all at full meter lengths. Thus, for the 5 meters by 5 meters mat footing, enter number of grid lines as 6. And spacing as 1 meter, in both X and Y directions. Click on OK. The corresponding grid lines have been generated. Now go to Define, and choose Materials. The 2 materials, used in the Isolated Footing, are already listed by default. To make any changes, you can choose the property, and select Modify/Show Property. Close the Materials box, as you need not make any changes. Again go to Slab Properties, and you can see the Footing and Stiff property, of the Isolated Footing. Now you will draw the footing yourself, so you do not need the Stiff property, as you will be defining the columns separately. Select the property Stiff, and click on Delete Property. The Stiff property has been removed. Click on OK, to exit the Slab Properties dialog box. Now go to the Column Properties, in the Define menu. There were no column properties, defined separately in the Isolated Footing, so you have to define them here. There are 3 columns, of M30 concrete, having different dimensions, so add them one by one. The dimensions of column 1 are 400 mm by 400 mm. The dimensions of column 2 are 450 mm by 350 mm. And that of column 3 are 350 mm by 450 mm. After the 3 columns are defined, click on OK. Now go to Define, and select Soil Subgrade Properties. The property named Soil is having a subgrade modulus of 1e plus 4. And the property named Soil 1 is having a subgrade modulus of 2e plus 4. So you will be using the Soil 1 property. Now check the load patterns, load cases, and load combinations, which will already be defined by default, in this case. The job of defining the properties has been done. Now you will start drawing the elements, with these properties. In the Draw menu, choose Draw Slab/Areas. Check that the correct footing property is selected. Then start by clicking on one corner of the grid intersection. Then click on the other three corners, and come back to click again on the first point, in order to close the figure. Close the Draw Slabs Properties box. Now choose the Draw Columns option, in the Draw menu. Change the property below to None, and property above to Column 1. Change the height below to None, and height above to 2 meters. The Column 1 is the square column, of 400 mm by 400 mm dimension. Click once on the grid points, 1 meter inside each corner, in both X and Y direction, to place the 4 columns as shown. Press Escape on your keyboard, once you are done. Again, choose the Draw Columns option. Change the property above to Column 2, which is the one having 450 by 350 dimensions. Place the Column 2, in the midpoint between the corner columns, as shown. Similarly place the Column 3, in the midpoint of the vertical lines, between the corner columns. Once you are done, close the box and press Escape. Now select Draw Design Strips, from the Draw menu. The calculated strip width is 1.25 meters, so enter the values accordingly. Then draw the 3 strip layers, along the X direction through the column centers. Make sure to right-click outside, after drawing each strip, to discontinue it. Then change the strip layer to B, and draw the 3 design strips in the vertical direction. Close the design strip box, once you are done. You can use the options from the Set Display Options, to view the strips with the actual thicknesses. Deselect the options, to restore the original view of the design strips. In the next video, you will learn to assign the properties, and run analysis and design. Thanks for watching.